Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Bryant Report, and I'm your host, Mike Bryant. And today's video is going to be a departure from the series of videos I've been doing on the Buford Pusser case. For those of you guys that have been following along on that, but don't worry, I'm not done with that. I'm still going to be putting out more videos. But this was a case that I've had my eye on, and for those of you that may not know, I have another channel that's a cruise related channel, and I had that channel for several years now, and it's been kind of a hobby that I have. I like to go on cruises, and so I make videos on different cruise related topics, cruise tips, cruise news, things like that. And so when I saw this case involving Anna Kepner and her untimely death on the Carnival Horizon, where she was embarked on a 6-day Caribbean cruise with her family. It was it sparked my interest, to see what was going on. And, initially, I think, well, when I first saw it reported, it was just kind of like they knew that a death had occurred on this cruise ship, and there really wasn't a lot of information that was being put out about it, or at least from what I saw. And then ultimately, we learned the individual's name, and then it was kind of like it kind of came to a standstill, and a lot of information wasn't being released. And so there was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors going around, people trying to figure out what was going on. And even now, we still don't have a lot of information. We have more information as of today, November 19th, than we did when it was first reported. But at any rate, over the last 24 hours, there seems to have been some breaking news on the case, and so that's why I wanted to do this video, because I really don't like making making a video unless I have at least some kind of information to go on, and so that's what we're doing today. So I figured we would take a look at where we're at so far in the developments. And so just a little background in case anybody's watching this that hasn't doesn't really know much about it. Just give you the background here. So Anna Kepner, she was 18 years old. She was from Titusville, Florida, and she was a senior at Temple Christian School in Titusville. According to family, she had ambitions to join the United States Navy and to someday work as a canine police officer. And she was known in her community as bright, outgoing, and active in school sports and extracurricular activities. And so apparently, and I think she was set to graduate spring of next year. So she was on this cruise with her family, her father, her stepmother, and some step siblings. And so I still haven't been able to figure out, or I haven't been able to find anywhere, like how many family members in total were in the party, how many cabins did they have booked, and who was in what cabin. Still haven't really seen any information on that. But getting back to how the timeline played out. Well, apparently on November 6th, I guess that evening, Anna was, I guess, in the main dining room with her family eating dinner, and she had complained of not feeling very well, and she was going to go back to her cabin. And so then the following morning, the family got together to eat breakfast, and no one had seen Anna. Nobody knew her whereabouts. And so I guess the family started searching. And then apparently, somewhere around 11 o'clock in the morning of November 7th, the room steward went into, I believe it was a cabin that was supposed to be. I don't know. Now this is where it's still kind of hazy, still kind of fuzzy. I'm assuming that this was a cabin that was shared by Anna and her one of her step siblings. I don't know that for a fact, and if any of you guys have that are watching this have that information, and you can correct me in the comments, please do. But at any rate, the room steward goes in to clean the cabin because if for those of you that may not have not been on a cruise, they generally try to come in and clean your cabins once a day, and they'll usually talk to you, and you can figure out which time of day you want the room steward to come clean your cabin. But apparently, this was, like I said, around 11 a.m., November 7th. This is the morning after she had complained of feeling ill. And so she went in to clean the cabin, and she discovered Anna's body uh, wrapped in a sheet underneath the bed and covered with life preservers. And so, that was reported by this room steward. And then I'm assuming the ship doctor came to the cabin, and then she was pronounced dead at 11:17 a.m. Now, uh, they at that point the ship was going to be docking the next morning, and apparently the cruise ship sent out a letter to some of the cabins in that area, in and around that cabin, to let them know that, hey, investigators are going to be coming on board. You guys need to be out of your cabins and off the ship by 7 o'clock in the morning, so that way, the officials can come on and conduct their investigation. And so, and that's pretty much what happened. Um, and so uh, there was, let's see. So that's kind of how things played out. And again, like I said, November 8th is when they docked, and that's when, her body was taken off the ship and everything. And that's when the FBI became involved, and that's when they began their investigation. And so I've got some files here to share that might see if we can shed some light here. And let me see if I can get this. We'll start with this right here. And I got this. This is from the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's webpage. And apparently you can go there, and I guess they've got the names of people that have been pronounced dead on certain days and times. And as you can see here, Anna Kepner, Anna Marie Kepner, and it's got, now see, this is kind of a point of confusion for some people, and because it says the death date is November 7th, 2025, and the time of death at 11:17 a.m. Now, I would, and I could be wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for the FBI. I don't work for any law enforcement agency. But I would assume that is basically the death pronouncement date, because that's pretty much how things work. Even I could drop dead right here in my house and be laying in my house by myself dead for several days, but I'm not officially dead until somebody pronounces me dead. Medical examiner, coroner, whoever. And so that's what I'm assuming is what this is right here, because obviously with the investigation going on, I'm sure that there's probably undoubtedly going to be an autopsy. There's going to be toxicology reports and all of that. And so I would assume that death date will probably get adjusted. They'll do whatever testing that they need to do, and they'll determine the actual date and time that she passed within a certain, you know, time range or whatever. But that's kind of what they've got listed so far. And like I say, I kind of expect as the investigation continues, that will probably be updated. And so, moving on to the next posting here. Now, this is from Chantel Kepner, and this is the person who is supposedly her stepmother that was on the cruise with her. And she made this post, and I'll just read it real quick here. This is a post no parent ever wants to make. I'm asking everyone to please stop sharing or posting about my daughter, Anna. We are trying to grieve the loss of our child, and it's been incredibly difficult to navigate this heartbreak while being overwhelmed with messages and friend requests. We truly appreciate everyone's love and concern, but right now we need privacy and space to grieve. Seeing hundreds of posts filled with inaccurate information and hurtful or off the wall comments has been incredibly difficult. We are a family simply trying to grieve the loss of our daughter. Please allow us the space and privacy we need during this heartbreaking time. If anything, please screenshot my post and share that on any post you see, please. Now, I saw that because there was, like I said earlier, I have a cruise related channel, and so I follow a lot of the cruise news Facebook groups and online magazines and stuff that they report on the day-to-day cruise news. And so I started seeing those articles about this death on the cruise ship. And as I noticed, I would go to the comments section. I would see this post, because other people were copying this and then posting it in the comments. Basically trying to tell people to stop posting about it, stop talking about it, don't post articles about it, things of that nature. And I don't know, when I saw that's when it kind of raised a red flag for me, you know. And I can understand, and I'm not saying that I don't understand a family's right, wanting privacy and all that, but it just kind of seemed to me if that she would probably be more concerned with, supporting her the biological father of Anna, being there for him and all that, and not necessarily worrying about what people are saying on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. Uh, I mean, because you'd have to know that something like this is going to be in the news. It's going to be out there. There's no way you can police everybody with what they're posting. But it just kind of seemed a little bit off to me, and that's when it kind of sent off a red flag, and I started to think that there might be more to this story. It might not, because in the beginning it was kind of, I think people were thinking this might be some sort of accidental death that happened on the ship, and who knows, maybe she fell or something. And a lot of people, I think, were taking aim at the cruise line, trying to thinking maybe that they were covering something up. But when I saw this, like I said, it just kind of raised a red flag. I was thinking, well, maybe there's something else going on here. But so that was one. That was the first social media post that I saw, anyway. And then we've got this one right here, and this is from a person by the name of Martin Donahue, and I'll just read it real quick. I need everyone's help on this. If you haven't heard the story, then you have been living under a rock. This is my niece, Anna Kepner. She was 18 and was on a cruise with her dad, stepmom, and other family members. I cannot stay silent about this matter any longer. The stepmom's son killed her, stuffed her naked and beaten body in a sheet, and stuffed her under a bed and covered her with life jackets, then slept on that bed like nothing happened. He told his stepmom when no one could find Anna on the ship. So yes, they know who did this, and it sickens me that the father, Chris, remains silent about it. Please pass this on till maybe it gets to someone that can do something about it. If nothing is done, it will all come out on the 20th. At least that's what the stepmom has said after treating family, threatening family, I think is what he meant to say. If they talk before that, they will be banned for the remembrance of life for Anna. Please pass this so my family can get closure. And the people who did this and lied and stalled to tell the rest of us what happened when it did. Now you just look all guilty of a cover up. So this was a post that went out, and this was on the 17th, but I guess it's already been deleted. And what's interesting about it, so like I said, this guy apparently is her uncle, but apparently there had been some rumors floating around on the internet from, I guess, some folks that had been on that cruise and had been reporting some of this stuff about her, you know, her being wrapped in a sheet under the bed, possibly beaten. But there was nothing kind of definitive about, in regards to it. Nothing official out there anyway. And so this post came out, which kind of seemed to confirm some of those rumors. But then I guess this post got deleted. And so, and again, is this guy really her uncle? We don't, I can't confirm that, but that's just basically what's out there now. And so we'll move on to this other post. And and I apologize that it's kind of blurry, but this is from somebody named Barbara Collins Kepner. And it says, okay, this is a straight up lie. My granddaughter was 18 years old, no drugs or alcohol involved. She was murdered. Yes, she was murdered. That's why the FBI was there. I hope none of you have to go through what her father and mother have gone through this weekend. Now, again, is this really her grandmother? I mean, like I said, I can't confirm this. Again, these are all posts that have been making the rounds. Hopefully, it'll be cleared up, in the future, in the near future. But it's just it's kind of getting the ball rolling, and it's just kind of feeding the fuel of the rumor mill out there, and having people causing concern. But this next individual right here, Manuel Gomez. Now, I was watching Court TV earlier today, and this gentleman here, he's, I guess, former military Army intelligence officer, and I guess he has his own private investigating company, and apparently, I guess he had given a interview on Court TV about this. It was either Court TV or Law and Crime Network. I think it's Court TV though. But anyway, he had been interviewed, and then I guess after that he started receiving phone calls from various people, tips, whatnot. And apparently he got a phone call. According to him, he received a phone call from somebody that was on the ship, and another passenger who had witnessed Anna and this other young male who, according to the person that gave the tip to him, fit the description of one of the supposed step siblings. And so and I don't know, I haven't been I have not sailed on the Carnival Horizon, but I have sailed on the Carnival Vista, which is kind of the sister ship, if you will. It's the same class of ship as the Horizon, same layout pretty much. And they do have a movie theater, an IMAX movie theater on those ships. And so, I can verify at least that there is a movie theater. So that person is whoever gave that tip is correct. And so anyway, this individual saw her and this male in the movie theater, and supposedly they were having a very heated argument. I guess she didn't hear exactly what it was about, but that's one of the tips that he got, and he reported on that on Court TV. So, that we don't know what exactly that was all about, but it's really starting to not look so good for whoever the step sibling is. Now, yesterday evening is when I came across the next little bits of information I've got here. And let's see here. This is when everything starts to get really kind of crazy, and it kind of leads us in to where we are today. So apparently, and this is very confusing. This is where it really starts to get confusing on the family dynamics of what was going on with Anna Kepner and the family situation that she was living in. So this is a motion, I guess, that was filed by Chantel Hudson, the supposed stepmother, her attorney, because apparently uh, she was involved in a divorce within the last couple of years. And apparently, the way I understand it, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a paralegal, so I could be completely off base here. And if any of you legal professionals are out there watching this and you want to correct me in the comments, please do, if you can shed some insight on this. But the way I've heard it explained on places like Court TV and some of the news agencies, that the divorce was actually finalized within the last couple of years, and then of course they had kids together, and so there was gonna anytime you get a divorce and you have kids, there's going to be a custody agreement, which if you're the non-custodial parent, you usually get some sort of visitation. I know this because I'm divorced and I had a child, and that's how it worked for me. I was the non-custodial parent. I had a custody agreement. And so, whatever days of the month I would get, there would be set days and times. And so that's what that was all about. And you have to have that, you need that, because that's, as a non-custodial parent, that's your protection. So apparently, according to this, uh, she hasn't been, living up to her agreement or whatever. And so the ex-husband was filing a motion for contempt, I guess, to enforce the custody agreement. And so that was going to be set for December 17th of this year. Well, now, because of what happened on this cruise with Anna, her attorneys now filed this motion for a continuance, basically until the criminal investigation that might take place in the future concludes. Uh, and the reason being, because if you look down here, I've got it circled in blue. The the interesting part about this, and it says right here, Miss Anna Kepner, the deceased, is the daughter of the respondent's paramour, and the respondent and the minor children of this instant action were all on the cruise ship together. So what's kind of muddied the waters a little bit more for me is because they use the word paramour. It says the respondent's paramour. The respondent is Chantel, uh, and so they're saying the response Chantel's paramour. Well, you know everything. When you're dealing with these legal documents, everything has meaning. Everything is important. People's statuses are important, whether your age, your marital situation, your citizenship status, because each status has its own rights and circumstances. And so, this whole time we've all been thinking that Chantel was married to Anna's dad. But according to this legal filing, they use the word paramour, which is a non-marital relationship. So, I don't know that her lawyer would. I mean, unless this is a mistake by her attorney, but I don't think so. I doubt it, because usually, you want to, when you file these kinds of court motions and documents, you got to make sure you're using the proper terminology, because, like I said, it has different ramifications. And so here they're saying respondents paramour. So by this, it it seems to indicate that they weren't even married, which means that Chantel is not really Anna's. Well, by legally, now she may, you can consider someone to be your daughter, I suppose, if you weren't really married. But it's just an interesting wrinkle to this whole thing. And so, and it gets even more interesting when you go to the next page, and right here at the top, it says the respondent has been advised through discussions with the FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children of this instant action. So that is pretty interesting, and so that's kind of what's spurred all the recent controversy and discussion. Is now it's seeming like, okay, perhaps. And the family, what's also interesting is because the family's been complaining that they have not been getting any information from the FBI. That's been kind of put out there. Anytime that we have heard from the family, they're saying, well, they're not telling us anything. They're not telling us anything. Well, according to this filing, it seems like maybe they have been told some stuff, because why would her attorney be filing this, and why would he? I mean, if it wasn't so, he wouldn't be putting this in a legal court filing like this. I mean, I'm assuming he could probably get into some sort of trouble if it wasn't so. Um, so there we have it. There, so clearly by this, Chantel has had discussions with the FBI, uh, and there may be a criminal case coming for one of the supposed step siblings. And then if you read, and then right below there, number 4 there, the respondent's privilege against self-incrimination must be invoked pursuant to the Florida Constitution, Article 1. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, or be twice put in jeopardy for the same offense, or be compelled in any criminal matter to be a witness against oneself. Any testimony the respondent may give could be prejudicial to her adolescent child in this pending criminal investigation. Therefore, the respondent cannot be compelled to testify. And that's why this filing had to be made, because I mean there is a pretty good chance that there's going to be some sort of criminal proceeding, and if she were to go to this custody hearing, or this whatever this contempt hearing next month, December 17th, if she were to go there and have to testify, and information harmful to her children may be able to come out, and so they pretty much had to file this motion. So it's all very interesting, but that's kind of where we are right now. And so it's not looking very good for the whoever. I don't know which one of the step siblings it is. And again, I'm kind of curious. I'm still kind of curious, because I don't know what the living arrangements were. Did each person have their own cabin? Were the kids sharing cabins? Which I would assume that some of the kids would be sharing a cabin. How many girls, how many boys, the ages, things like that. A lot of information that I haven't been able to uncover. But I think, I know tomorrow they're supposed to have the celebration of life service for Anna. And so possibly after the 20th, maybe some more information will come out. Maybe that's where we're at right now. Plus, I know you have to wait on results of the autopsy and toxicology reports and things of that nature. But I don't know. I guess I guess that's where we're all at right now. We're all kind of a holding pattern on this, but uh, and it and I think from my point of view, I won't make another video probably on this case until we get some more info. Something else breaks. The FBI gives an update, or maybe there's an arrest made. You know, but like I said, I was interested. I'm always interested in these cruise ship cases because like I said, I do a lot of cruising myself, and so I'm somewhat familiar. Uh, and another note too, like a lot of these cruise ships, they have surveillance systems all over the place. So we'll get some more clarity on who was coming in and out of that cabin, who she was seen around the ship with, which I'm sure by now they've probably gotten all of that video. I'm sure they've already looked at it by now. It's been several days, uh, and you'll have the data from the electronic lock. Again, for those of you who don't go on cruises, each cabin has like an electronic lock, and you get issued a key card, which I think I've got one handy. As a matter of fact, this is a Carnival key card. That's what you get when you go on the cruise, and so when you're on there, you'll use this to open up your cabin door, and all that information is stored. So they'll know whose key card was used, what day, what time. Was it the person that was supposed to be in the cabin? Was it the room steward or any crew members? So I'm sure by now they've got all of that. But yeah, that's all I'm going to have for this video. And again, anybody that's watching this that has more insight, more details, and if you see that I got something wrong, please let me know in the comments. Won't hurt my feelings. I always want to have the most accurate information. But other than that, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider hitting the thumbs up on the way out. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Helps the channel grow, helps push the message out to the masses. And I truly do appreciate anybody that watches, likes, subscribes, shares. And I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good week. And I will see you on the next video. So take care, everybody. Oh, my little outro video didn't start up. So we'll try again. So take care, everybody.